have entered the realm of dead air. For the next 2 hours, you will be transported into the world of the strange and the supernatural. You might not feel the need to cleanse your laptops or mobile devices afterwards. But it might not be a bad idea.
In the immortal words of Joseph Frezza, let's do this. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. We are simulcast with KGRADB.com. KGRA also on Facebook. My name is George Lopez. With me as well, Mr. Ken DaCosta. And Ken, this is your show. Ken put 72 hours of review in to the Oliver Estate investigation. And Ken, how much coffee are you on right now?
Oh, God. Had to make 2 trips to buy more, but well worth it. I'm awake. I'm up. I'm ready to go.
This is going to be interesting. Yes, for the next 2 hours, guys, we're going to go over the live investigation from the week before last, and we have some very special guests going to be joining us here in a second, Aaron Bush and Alyssa Phoenix, and thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, also the thumbs up. For the likability of what it is that we're doing here, and a reminder bell for upcoming content. We thank you guys also for any contributions that you may put in the super chat as you are watching the show this evening. So we are ready to get started here, Ken. Let's bring our 2 very special guests, investigators, nuances of experience. Oh, this should bring them on. Aaron, Alyssa, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Hey, folks.
Prognosticators of prognosticators. You are two incredible people who have just tremendous gifts that you offer up to both us and our audience as well. And we're going to get into those gifts and some of the experiences, as well as some of the evidence that the team of Rise Up Paranormal captured that not necessarily heard during the show, but picked up otherwise. So, Ken, I'll leave it to you to take it away at this point in time and send us in the direction that we need to go.
Okay, so as George alluded to, Cody and Satari, when we do our live investigations, obviously play a large role in that because they are able to instantaneously connect to the spirits at a certain location, and right now we're about 5 for 5 with them. They have never failed to reach out and get emotional content. So what we're going to show you tonight is kind of a combination of what you may have seen on the live broadcast, just so we can kind of relive that, as well as quite a few things that we picked up, documented on our recorders and our cameras and so forth. Most of what we're going to show you tonight is in video format, which is always good. Some of it is really short. There could be 7-second or 11-second clips, and otherwise we could show you a 3-minute video clip, but we think for context it's very important. Let me just say it's nice to be in studio with everybody tonight instead of out on location. We will likely be doing that again really soon. It's not something that we plan, but as these things sort of present themselves to us, it seems to be something that everybody enjoys, everybody loves, and we're very, very happy to do it when time allows and these opportunities come up. So we talk a little bit about a World War II era battleship in the near future, and there are a host of places, and we may actually at some point be coming from New York, from the Shanley Hotel. So a lot of things planned. So again, as George says, subscribe, give us a like, throw comments in there. We love to engage with everybody.
Throw money.
And yeah, if you want to spend the money that's less than a cup of coffee to support us, we
Yeah.
appreciate that very much. So,
Aaron, I want to say, Aaron, thank you again. You've done some of these reviews or post-mortems with us in the past for live investigations. What are your expectations for tonight?
I try to go in with no expectations because it's always a surprise to me every time. I mean, obviously you have Cody and Satori and what they can do, but then I always get super excited for these because we get to see all the other things that, you know, the recorders picked up. And if there's video evidence, it's just, there's that surprise of we don't know what they got. And, you know, they pick up so much amazing information with the tech that they use and the people that they have. You know, it's always exciting to be part of a Rise Up investigation. So it's a good learning experience. You know, I'm learning as I go. And so as many of these as you guys want me to be on, I will always say yes. So I'm excited.
What I'm hoping is that we can do something similar, if not the same thing as we did the last investigation that we broadcast live, where we can take some of these clips and relate them to the paranormal field, as every one of them has their own story, as it goes to paranormal theory or, you know, how we feel about things. So I'd like to keep that same format, and you folks in chat, please engage us tonight, because it's more for you than us. But I will say that in looking through these things, been a tough week. Everybody's been a little busy. So everybody, you know, did the best they could to get some of this stuff. We're really not done yet. There may be some other things out there. Yeah. But we're happy to share them with you tonight.
Now, Alyssa, it was your first time joining us during a live investigation, and I apologize. Nothing really happened, did it?
Same old.
Something happened that I wasn't expecting. It definitely caught me off guard, that investigation. I was super excited, so excited that I got to join. Hope to do more. And just was not expecting, you know, relatives to visit, you know.
Ken, are we going to be presenting some of those clips tonight?
We are.
All right.
We are. We're going to relive that. And as we said during the actual broadcast, there were people who came through for the person who runs the place, Christy Parrish, and a message for a volunteer there, a longtime volunteer. And as we told her, Alyssa, there's not one of us that hasn't been touched by this at some point. When you least expect it, at the most bizarre locations, whether it's somebody's mother, father, uncle, cousin, just, you know, as they line up and the opportunity presents itself. So we have all been through that kind of thing where we're emotional and we're dumbfounded and not sure of what's going on, but it can change your life.
Yeah, no question about that. And before we go any further, Ken, and I turn it over to you, Alyssa, you've got several different platforms, including, again, we found you as a TikTok sensation, over 500,000 followers. Give some of your platforms out there for people to check you out, please.
You can check me out on TikTok. I believe my username is SFX Phoenix on TikTok, and also, of course, on Instagram. You can just search up my name, Alyssa Phoenix, or MUA Phoenix on Instagram.
That's what I remember too.
Hit her up.
Yep. And for you, Miss Erin, if people want to communicate with you about your experiences either here on the show or your discovery of the paranormal, how can they reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I think they're both Erin Kathleen Bush, so it should be relatively easy to find.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Good. So everybody bother the two of them and leave Ken and I alone. We're old.
Right. we're here every Sunday if you want to reach us.
Exactly. All right, Mr. DaCosta, I turn it over to you, sir.
Okay. So in chronological order, pretty much, first of all, a little bit of reminder of where we were. This is the Peter Oliver Estate in Middleborough, Massachusetts. It's a sort of Georgian type design. What you don't see is a large barn to the left of this shot, but in terms of size, it is ample. and sometimes a little bit deceiving because you can spend an awful lot of time in those things. So we're going to move right into the Ben Franklin room. And this was when we went live. This was the room that we introduced you all to Christy Parish and talked a little bit about the history of the place. So we began in this particular setting with Cody and Story. And what we decided to do is right off the bat announce our presence, introduce ourselves through them, and hopefully engage with people, let them know what our intentions were. So one of the things we picked up right away as they began that you didn't see on the show was someone who seemed to be calling to everybody else that we're going to be wanted here. So this is what we got.
There's 2 people here with me right now that are passed on.
Are they in this room?
So what was great about it is that beyond the tapping, there were verbalizations. This is a place that's been investigated a lot. So I think that the residents there are used to engaging vocally. So I'll play it again as the woman says, "You want us?"
There's 2 people here with me right now that are passed on.
Are they in this room?
I have to ask, Ken, how many of these were picked up at that moment? In other words, there were times during the live presentation where you were saying Mark Audio, Mark was saying Mark Audio. Was this one of those occasions too?
This was not.
EVP.
We'll preface when we go into it because it's either good ears or good amplification.
Got it.
Because some of those things that we marked, and we'll come up on some of those when we get into the ladies' parlor. But I love the way it's just a positive thing. You want us? I just kind of love. I love
Who, us?
You called, you rang.
Yeah,
right there.
I loved it. So I will stop whenever anybody wants to comment on any of these things, because please, we got 2 hours and we can spend some time on here for sure. Same session, just a little bit later as they're getting in. They're still in the introduction phase of this. And, well, there are male and female there. There are children, both male and female. And a gentleman wants to make his presence known, and well, make of this what you will.
Hello?
Tell Cheryl hello for them.
What? What?
So again,
Hello?
Tell Cheryl hello for them.
So again, there's people in the house, and something in the last 2 clips we didn't hear audibly, and only on review. And this was those good times where you sit back and you pick these things apart, and then, wow, that was pretty amazing.
I have a question. I mean, you guys spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours going over this stuff. How many times did you have to listen to that to determine that that is actually a voice? Like, I would never, lack of experience, ever be able to pick that up. Now, I can hear it when you play it, but how much time did you have to spend to find a clip like that to be like, okay, we're going to use this one?
There's a process to it, and oftentimes when Cody and Satori are on, you'll always see me, you'll get a butt shot or a head shot of me putting a recorder down on the floor. And what happens is the camera mics pick this up. I will take that audio and overlay it, because being close to them on the floor, the knocks and everything they get are much more pronounced than when you're 8 feet away or 10 feet away. So oftentimes what will happen is we'll share the load. In this case, Mark Purcell had a camera. Julie had a busy week. A really busy week between work, and then she had an event at the Conjuring House Friday.
Yeah, she hosted. That's awesome.
Right. So it's kind of a collaborative effort. to get these things. And like I say, 3 days from now, we may find more. But what I typically do, I don't listen via headphones to these things.
Okay.
I listen on computer speakers because if I can hear it on computer speakers, it's going to translate better to someone I'm playing this for. Headphones are great, don't get me wrong, but you get into these little nuanced squeak, squeak, squeak things, one syllable. I don't get excited over the one syllable stuff because, unless it's a definitive yes, no, or something like that. So it's just a matter of sitting down, taking these things in small bites.
Yeah.
Going through them. And then when you have something, go to the recorder, isolate the video, overlay the audio. You get more proficient at it, like anything else in life.
Yeah. I always use the example, and for the bulk of our audience, they know the story of the Princess and the Pea. I know Alyssa's probably gonna have to Google that as soon as we're done with the show. Oh, okay. But it is principally the same thing. And before I got into this field and listening to EVPs, I was listening to Russian transmissions thousands of miles away, and you'd be just in the middle of hearing shh, and it's like, okay, that would pick up. The extensive amount of time that Ken or Julie or any of the team in Rise of Paranormal, myself, anybody that does investigating, hears that white noise, and boy, something or anything that comes up will jump out. But as Ken just happened to mention, to look at more of those class A's or the strong class B's, not having the headphones on, then you're not looking at every little nuanced noise that comes across. I mean, you could really literally, with these recorders, pick up a mosquito.
Right.
And that could sound like a scream. So, it's important to really work hard and be diligent about the work that you do. Now, if you're on there and you hear, meow, and a few minutes later, meow, you could pretty much bet it's a mosquito. It's not a female screaming out. But again, it's a learning process. We start with taking pictures of orbs, and eventually we go, okay. Right. Then we move on from there. So anyway.
Yeah, I think it's the idea that, we call it like castrating mosquitoes. We're fussing over these little things that could have any meaning. I mean, someone could easily shift a chair and it sounds like Get Out.
So, hi, Tammy.
Right.
But hey, Tammy. But I think that we'd rather put the time into the things where we go, wow. The explanation is not so easily discerned. But like I say, it's a collaborative effort. We've done it long enough that, without getting into the weeds on it, I mean, there are shortcuts to take. I'm not saying shortcuts like we ignore things, but there are more expedient ways of doing it that are a little more, worthy of time. So this is another one. This is actually in the next room in the ladies' parlor. And this is going to be a quick one. May have to play this a couple of times. But again, Cody and Satori are doing their thing. This is one of the things that we tagged because we heard this audibly. We didn't know what it was. And as they're running through the alphabet, someone jumps the gun on a letter and actually says the letter that they will eventually tap on a couple of seconds later. And I believe the word was looking, but they're running through H-I, and someone actually says the letter. This is quick, but this is something new for us where they're engaging verbally. So a couple of times I'll play this. D-E-F-G-H-I-J-K-L. Okay, so they actually say the letter L before it taps on. D-E-F-G-H-I-J-K-L.
Wow.
And they say L, and the clip, unfortunately, that I was sent, cut those off. Rise up, guys. Let it run another 3 seconds in the future. But the letter L was said by a female before actually they got to the letter L and it was tapped on. So it was almost, Spirit there
That's
is like, let's
crazy.
get out. Let's move on. Let's get on with this.
Right.
Is that the case, Ken? Or again, this is all conjecture. Is somebody telling somebody else who's doing the tapping, third party?
I would not rule any possibility out, not being there actually, in their presence, so to speak, in the physical realm. But I know that in this particular place, conversations are something that are pretty common when you pick up two voices speaking to each other.
Absolutely.
And those could be residual or those could be interactive in the moment. It was what you're saying. But I thought that was funny and also really informative because if we're getting into that thing now where it's like we can also speak, so you get both of those kind of worlds coming at you where it's just, and there's another one here coming up, our next one, where it's just sort of like almost like, oh God, move on type of thing with the spirits. Oh yeah. The next one I'm going to play for you, you'll hear Mark say he's wondering if it's a word, and Satori says no. And then Satori takes a guess at a word, and then you'll hear another voice say, no. Work with me here, people. So this is again in the ladies' parlor.
No.
Joking.
No. L.
Is this
Okay, I'll play
That's
it
so
again.
funny.
No.
joking?
No. L.
Is this
No.
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 The director on the other side's like, oh, come on.
Yes. Is it spaghetti? No. Is it no?
No.
But what we've learned on our own over the years, as well as with them, is that we do retain consciousness and personality and characteristics and all those things we carried in life. And it's almost like a neighborhood on the other side, because we've had people complaining about how kids are noisy there and they're always running around. And, so we keep those same characteristics. And, when they're kind of looking down and they give you the information and you're just not getting it, then, absolutely they're on the other side saying, no, that's not.
It's like Jerry Maguire, help me, help you,
Yeah. And it actually is, it's really cool. The ladies' parlor, by the way, we'll take a look at that right now. Beautiful
That house is
rooms in
stunning.
here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fireplaces and so forth. And that particular room, it has some tables set up now for guests that come in, investigations, things like that, places they can put their equipment in.
Ken, if you can go back to that picture again, and just to verify, that flooring goes all the way to the basement, correct? It's the same wood that if you're going to be showing that later on with the K2, you're in contact with that. There's nothing in between.
No, there's no space to that. The basement is probably 6.5 feet from floor to ceiling, and those planking boards that you see, those wide boards, typical of houses in the 1700s. I wouldn't say they're paper thin, but about 1.5 inches thick, and then it's just the rafters in the basement at that point.
Incredible.
Yeah, no subfloor or anything.
No,
Wow.
no such thing. Okay, back to the ladies' parlor again. And this is like one of my favorite ones, really. When Satori is asking if there's more, because a lot of times when they do something, they will get an answer, whether it's a name, a date, or whatever, and they'll say, is there more? And you begin to hear the tapping on the floor. Yes, there's more. Continuing on. A gentleman, again, this is a vocalization. And this is great that we're getting these kind of things. So this is what happens when she says, I'm not sure if she's talking to this gentleman or someone else, but this gentleman just jumps in and wants to let them know what he thinks about it.
Why? More?
Stay.
It's not simple.
Marcario.
Okay.
Oh boy.
All right. I'll play it again.
Why? More?
Stay.
It's not simple.
Marcario.
Okay. That sounds like it's filtered beyond all recognition. A lot of times when you get whispers, and they may be laboring voices, because you don't know how much energy that they need to expel to actually form words and make vibrations
Right.
with a larynx that doesn't exist, whether they're manipulating the environment, the electromagnetic field, the natural magnetic field, yet to be determined. So
Right.
that was one of those that I just had to amp up a little bit more, just for the benefit of people who are going to be listening to it.
Sure.
It actually sounds better not amped up as much as that, but from the gentleman, it's like, is there more? I know more. And who knows?
And
On the
it's so fast. The reactions are so fast. I think that's
Right.
what's stunning to me at
For
these
all we
places
know-
in New England.
for all we know, whoever is tapping on the floor, it could be like, you'll get your turn, smart guy. You just
Right. Take a number. There's a line.
you just wait a little bit. So the thing that I think more so in this place than others was the idea of the combination of like this intrusion on the physical realm where we're getting vibrations and knocks on the floor, which are astounding. We all
Yeah.
know that. But in this particular place, unlike some of the others that we've done, there was a combination of both at the same time.
Right.
During their session, we were picking up voices and people, and all of these voices seem to be in context to the questions that are being asked.
Right.
Whether it's the no, when they're asking yes or no and taking shots at something, or this when it's like, is there more? Yeah,
Right.
I know more. So it's not like someone said elm tree or something just out of left field.
Right. It correlates. It absolutely. Well, and I think too, you're looking from a perspective. Another question that comes up. I know as sensitive, we all get our information differently. Some of us see things, some of us hear things, some of us have a combination of abilities. So are the spirits, I've always wondered, do they have a particular way they prefer to communicate from spirit to spirit? And if that's the case, now are we talking about they have multiple ways of sending the information at the same time,
Mhm.
which is kind of a mind blowing thought
Right.
too, especially if that's relatively a new thing you guys are seeing, where, like you said, it's correlating. It makes sense. It's,
Right.
not just, is it another person piping in and answering for this? Like, there's so many different ways you can go with that,
Yeah. It's not always that at different places, because sometimes when Cody and Satori come in, and I've said this in the past, it's like spirits on the other side might be like, why do I need to answer your questions verbally when I've got this communication right over here? It's like,
Right.
I don't get it. It's like, just hang on a second and I'll give you the answer through them.
Right.
But other places are a little bit different. This particular place has, like a lot of places, a history of EVP and things like that. So I think you have those combinations, and some places you do, some places you don't. And it all depends on the individuals if they are able to communicate. So this isn't normal. This doesn't happen all the time. You normally get one or the other, but not to the degree where, 4 or 5 times over the course of the night, you're getting both at the same time. So fascinating.
It does, though, beg the question, if an investigator went into a location, none of us have done this, at least to my knowledge, and I certainly haven't, where I go in with the recorder and go, all right, what is your name? A, B, C, D, and then stop, go back and listen to see if there's a letter. And maybe that one syllable of energy is all they'll do each time, and it makes it easier. But that might be something to try and see whether or not that occurs. Again, there goes my mind
Yeah.
again with Cody and Satori. I'll
Well,
leave.
the thing is, doing EVP work, it's not out of the realm for us to ask for knocks while we're doing that. If it's if you can acknowledge us, if it's easier for you to make sounds, if you can make something we can hear to acknowledge us, please do, because we're throwing stuff against the wall. What's easier for you to do? If you can make knocks, and we'll do that during an EVP session. Here, the roles are reversed. We are actually doing a knocking session where we're not really asking, for the most part, for talk to us, talk to us, talk to us on our recorder. We're just standing back to see if something supplements these knocks.
Right.
And it doesn't always happen, but in this particular location, I mean, it really did. Whether it's the person they're engaging with or another person who's just,
Right.
capable of voice or, thinks they are. Well, I would love to go back after something like this and say, hey, listen, I'm going to play you a recording I got. Is this your voice? Because whatever you're
Oh,
doing is working.
that's a good idea.
It's
Mhm.
working. So if this is you, don't take my word for it that we can hear you. I'm not going to blow your mind with explanations how these new gadgets work, but
Right.
to acknowledge to them and give them that kind of motivation that, yeah, if you got something to say, we can certainly hear you.
That is such a cool idea.
Mhm.
It's not like you don't have
So,
plenty of evidence to choose from at these locations that you do, you know?
yeah, because again, we just had recorders running. We weren't sitting during their session where it's a circus and everybody's asking questions. We kind of get out of each other's way. So
Right.
this was just having these things on. And I think the idea that they're getting positive results and others in the house see someone stepping forward with them and communicating, again, I think that motivates them as well. So it's like, this is happening. Something's happening here.
Yep.
So I'm just going to chime in. I'm anxious. I don't want to wait my turn. There's a big line in front of me here. So I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. So
Yeah.
a lot of it is all incidental, which is great because if they're doing this and that spurs on vocalizations, that's awesome.
Well,
That's
it's almost
awesome.
like they're experimenting themselves with what they can do.
Yeah, it is a constant thing like that.
Hmm.
We have the luxury of moving on to the next thing. It's not like, well, we'll see you next year or we'll move on to the next thing. And in that span of time, somebody will always say, I want to try this or let's do that. But we just don't want to be intrusive on the process that they do. And they're very mindful of us too. Because listen, both of them carry flashlights and recorders and just like we do. This is
Right.
just a tool in their toolbox.
Right.
So they understand that we're going to step back now. And when we went down in the basement, that was straight by the book EVP session. And then toward the end, and we'll get to that whole thing. What you didn't see behind the camera with Satori, she was, a little antsy about it going in there
Oh,
based on the story that came out of it. But toward the end, they were the closers. They came in and say, okay, let's try this. And then we got our answer and we moved on.
Yeah, again, let me go ahead and jump down the road of controversy when it comes to the difference with what is transpiring now with the paranormal couple here and what we have had to contend with here for the last 15 years on Dead Air. with regards to psychic mediums when we would ask for an additional piece of evidence to what they were experiencing. Yes, I sense there's a spirit here. I sense there's multiple spirits, this, that, whatever. Well, can you get them to do this? Well, they're not your monkeys. They're not circus performers. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What we have been trying to do, what we are still trying to do, is encourage or find out and establish what means of communication there is otherwise, other than that psychic connection. How can they relay to us any type of message that's more concrete, be it tapping, be vocally? And every time we brought this up, I'm not going to say every time, but a majority of the time we brought this up with psychic mediums, they always go on a defensive rather than let's try it. Let's try these different things. And that's where I applaud Cody and Satori to say we want to try to expand out from here. And as Ken knows, there's a million things that go on in my mind. On their show on Thursday, I asked him, have you ever decided to use a Tesla coil while you're doing this? Maybe right at your feet below you or next to you to see whether or not that creates something more from there as well. And, I think that, again, the way that Ken DaCosta and Rise Up Paranormal and the paranormal couple are working together on this at a certain pace is extraordinary. Frustrating, but extraordinary.
Yeah, I think the thing with the kids is they know they have the foundation in place. They know they can communicate.
Oh, no question. No question.
And I mean, we've got 100% success rate. They have said that there are places they go that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. So the thing is, when the vast majority of the time someone is going to come through, I think it's easy to do other things because we already have that. We know it's going to happen, or 99% of the time, somebody's going to step up and they're going to communicate with us through this. So it's easy at that point to say, well, let's just add this, or let's change that, or let's bring this into it, because it's not going to do any harm to their process. I can't speak for mediums, but why not ask the question? It's like, well, it doesn't work like that. It's like, okay, based on what? I mean, if there's a reasonable explanation, I'm all in. Let me hear what it is. I mean, It doesn't hurt to ask, though, because all you're doing is being a conduit from us. It's like, could you ask them this? And I'm not talking about stupid things like what's the winning lottery number and dumb stuff like that. But I'm saying like legitimate questions. It's like, well, it's just like, we'll just ask. Cody and Satori have added the thing where 3 knocks means you don't know.
Yeah.
So you don't have all the secrets of the cosmos on the other side. Is so and so here, and 1, 2, 3 knocks means I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
And again, we can go down this avenue deeply. My feelings on it, and anybody else's that wants to join in with regards to it. And is it because there's monetary gain when it comes to psychic mediums who are out there charging for sessions, and so they kind of have this power conglomerate going on? That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. I know we've got a lot to cover there, Ken. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, we'll play a couple more clips here. I'm trying to space these out because we could cover these in like 20 minutes. So we got 2-hour show here, folks, and if you have questions, George is back there. He'll put them up. Questions for all of us. Another one that's kind of funny, only because of the way we look at it. Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger was here in the home at one point. He came through. Anybody checked on Schwarzenegger? He's still alive, right?
Yeah.
So context here is that, like they do after a while, not to tax themselves, they'll take a break and just say, okay, shake it off, shake their hands off, make sure there's no headaches or shin aches or anything like that, because, physically this does take a little bit of a toll on them. We're always mindful of that.
Yeah.
So Satori just says, essentially, we're going to take a break. And this guy pipes up in the middle and lets them know that, yeah, when you get back, I'll be around.
1 for talk right now, 2 for wait for a little bit.
Macario.
That's another one of those. We tagged it. We heard it, but we had to replay it and bring it up where we could hear it. So once again,
1 for talk right now, 2 for wait for a little bit.
Macario.
no contractions, very proper. I
crazy.
will be back.
You're right.
When you're ready, you'll come in. And
Like, thank you, good sir.
Yes, it's like good day, sir.
Yeah.
I said
Good day
good
to
day.
you, I say. Yeah. Well, and Mark's audio a lot. Like, he's got such a trained ear. Like, I mean, there was whistling all night. There was, but just to even be because there's so much going on in the house, even though it's quiet, but there's,
Right.
People are moving or breathing, and for him to still be able to pick that stuff up is quite impressive.
Yeah, we had a very relatively small crew in this house, which I appreciated because it was the kind of deal where, we didn't have to all split up and go to different areas of the house to thin the herd. And then everybody's got to be mindful of being quiet. For the most part, we could all be in the same room or in really relatively close proximity to each other.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to split up. And the good part about that is obviously when you pick up something, everybody's there. It's not like in another room, this is going on or that's going on, which adds a lot of credibility to the idea that this voice shouldn't be there. But I love what is a very proper 1700s. It's not like I'll be back. No contractions being used, but every word. Get to the chopper. It's. But here's Arnold once again.
1 for talk right now, 2 for wait for a little bit.
Macario.
I will be back.
How crazy.
I'll be back when you are. So again, it's one of those things, no tapping on the floor. It wasn't spelled out. It was this wonderful combination of audible words being said and knocks on the floor and vibrations and everything coming. So many things going on at once, which is why, we always tell everybody when these kids come on, we're so lucky that they're able to do this with us, until they get a call that they have to go across the country and film, and sometimes that will happen like just a week in advance or a few days in advance. But we've been able to work this out where they do this. And of course, we're spellbound just like everybody else is. But like we say on the live things, we've got things all over the place. And sometimes those pay off. I mean, they always pay off in different ways for overlaying audio on so you can hear those knocks even louder. And sometimes they don't, but you never take it for granted that you should not be in there documenting things. I don't care who's in there. It doesn't matter.
Ken, if I throw this hypothesis at you as well, live investigation at the Conjuring House, live investigation at the Payne House, at the Alley Theater, but these EVPs being captured, I think, are multiplying. Would there be a logical possibility that there is a corresponding assistant on the other side to Cody and Satori? In other words, somebody who kind of is working in conjunction to, I don't want to say teach these spirits, because other people who go in these places get recordings as well. but to be able to say, yes, you can speak while you knock.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that they mitigate that. I mentioned something a little earlier where you don't know what you're getting back from the other side because we're at, by definition, a disadvantage. You know, we're not seeing or hearing the things. And we've had sessions with them. Payne House immediately comes to mind where these people have been paying attention to us for 11 years now.
Right.
And they remember things from 11 years ago. Yes, I remember when there was a flood down the road. First night we were ever there. There was a
That was nuts.
water main break. And this woman, God bless her, Sarah Whipple, she thought it was hysterical. You know, thanks, Sarah. You know, we were freaking out, but she remembered the flood. And she thought that was funny and, you know, laughing. This is what I mean about the character you have on the other side. You still think things are funny. Like, look at these
Oh, yeah.
nuts running around panicking, you know? So I think they do mitigate that because when they know in the moment that their efforts are being rewarded, then they might be more willing to do other things. Like we have asked for things to be moved and video recorded them being moved.
Right.
You know, nothing strenuous or, you know, not tables stacked on each other. But I think what they do is give an outlet and a relief to the other side where, you know, 10,000 people have come through this place all asking the same thing and asking the same questions. But here you go where our efforts are being rewarded. They can hear us. They can understand us. We are having a conversation. And that's got to be pretty motivating to them. Well, I'm going to do other things. Then maybe they can hear me talk. Maybe they can do this. You know, if 10,000 people have come through, I want you to say my name, and they could be saying it, but then they say my name, say my name.
Right.
I have been saying it for 5 minutes now, you knucklehead.
Right.
But right? So it gets frustrating, and somebody else comes in. Is there anybody here? It's like, yes. If there was nobody here, you wouldn't be here with a recorder asking me if there was anybody here.
If I'm here.
Right. You're assuming I am. But when they come through like that, there's no question about it. I think that they're kind of pushing that and letting those on the other side know that we're not just doing an exercise here.
Right.
Like there are things that are happening. You know, we're getting you a little bit, which is why I love them to go in and right off the bat and ask for names. So then for the rest of the night, we don't have to say, is there a male here? Is there a female here? We can specifically ask for Earl or Sarah or whoever comes through, and you kind of build that little bit of a bond like you do in life. You don't just like, hey, you to everybody, you know, you call them by their name, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think too, the relationship that's being established with, I mean, the Conjuring House, we've discussed this live before too, is another prime example. It's very much now getting to the point where it's like living history, the information. I mean, now you have like a full out list of all the plants and trees that Abigail would like planted back at the farm and where.
Right.
But then you've also got, I mean, I've watched enough of the live streams now with that you see people investigating and they're asking, you know, they're like, oh, I thought I saw a light anomaly or something. And then as soon as it comes out of their mouth, it's happening again. So it's almost like the trust is being established in a level where they're like, okay, yeah, you saw it. So let me show it to you again. It's almost like they're trying to help investigators validate the information that they're getting faster.
Like being comfortable with this?
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
George, I got about the next two clips are going to take approximately 4 minutes in total for both, but I want to get Alyssa involved in this, and we have a question for her. So I'm not you're not getting off the hook that easy tonight, Alyssa. Okay, Kelly, our friend Kelly. Hello, Kelly. I'm curious. Alyssa is very quiet. No. But as
I,
a psych,
I think I'm like more like I'm like learning and listening and also interpreting in my head. That's why I'm super quiet right now.
yeah,
I'm
well,
usually like you could ask my mom. I'm the most talkative person in this house. So
you came on. You asked for all of this,
She never shuts up on TikTok.
right?
I'm always talking.
Right. But
Always.
Kelly is curious. Alyssa is very quiet. But as a psychic medium, do you get any impressions to help distinguish the different individuals?
Between different individuals, because I'm so new into it. I think when I first had like the experience with George when we did the live where we did the collective consciousness,
Right.
I was able to actually distinguish that there was different people. And I remembered I was actually looking back at the footage and I didn't realize that one of the spirits that I was sensing, it was like they were halfway there but not there. Like you
Right.
knew they were there, it's just you couldn't make out what it was. So you were able to make out two others versus another one. Like you're able to distinguish. Like I'm able to distinguish between them. I'm also able to distinguish like now I'm able to distinguish between good energy and bad energy. When I was younger, I just assumed, oh, it's just something. I just and then you end up exploring things that you shouldn't. But
As you continue to have contact with the same entities,
Mhm.
does everyone have a different type of energy or vibe? Like, does everybody have their own fingerprint? You know what I'm saying? It's like you feel this energy, and it's like, you know, it's like, oh, that's Daryl. It is Daryl. You know what I mean? Is it kind of like that?
It's almost like that. Like I've noticed that with traveling to different places or like even with working at different places at different schools, like you can always pick up on the different energies. Like it's not always the same spirit. Like so if I were to go from my original classroom to the football room, knowing that there's a spirit in my classroom that's more curious versus the spirit that's just hanging out there in the football room where you just pick up on his energy and immediately just look to where he is. It's like you can always tell. Like even at my grandparents' house, like I don't like that room. The bad room, like you just instantly, like even if I'm just like sitting there on the couch downstairs talking to my grandparents or just listening or watching TV, I immediately look up because you know its energy is there. So you just know where it is, who it is at the same time. You know it's not somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Erin, real quick, kind of the same thing with you. I once had a friend of mine who is a spirit medium explain to me that the way she gets things, it's like a car going by you at 60 miles an hour with the radio playing or someone yelling out the window, and you don't get everything. But as it goes by at 60 miles an hour, you're trying to pick
Little
out
things.
certain words and kind of connect them. Is that like, and I don't know, I just said, that seems like a cool way of looking at it. I mean, what do you think about that? Is it kind of the same?
I think it can be. I think I get a lot of download information, so I just get information that pops into my head that I have zero business knowing. And I'm very much like Alyssa. Energetically, I can feel it before I'm 100 feet from it. If it's good energy, bad energy, if, typically I can tell what the person's going through before they've even gotten close enough. So I'm much more of like a feeler, energy sensor than like a clairvoyant. But I can get things that, like if I see images in my third eye, if I'm doing energy work, it very much goes by not 60 miles an hour, but it's almost like having, somebody described it once, having two like old timey negatives of a photo and they're just not lined up perfectly and they just kind of float. Right. And for me, they're typically black and white. I can get features, but I don't typically know who they are.
Right.
So,
okay.
But again, we all get our stuff different.
That's a way of looking at it.
Yeah, I would like to think a lot of the times, because same thing. I think I really honestly believe that the longer that you are involved in this field, the more your sixth sense becomes sharpened, honed. Whether Ken's been out there since the '70s doing this, that when he goes into a place, and you've got those charlatans. I'm sorry, but that's the term for me. that go into a place and my chest is so tight and this and they just turn it into a television program, even though there's no cameras rolling. But you sense places, you walk into places, and there is a different feeling, such as what you and I are experienced on the second floor. We both lost our balance. We both felt more of a thickness in the air at that point in time. It comes with time and experience. And what is it we're doing? Does it mean that it's something nefarious, that it's a malevolent? And no, by no means. It could have multiple explanations behind it. But we turn to it because of our social programming that it must be something negative. It has to be something negative. And, we fall into that trap all too often. And as the situation was with Alyssa, when we did the Curse City remote view and collective consciousness, and your two friends that were there, what were their names again, Alyssa?
Holly and Mercedes.
Holly and Mercedes was with Alyssa in their room, and they all picked up on these same entities. They all did. And the interesting part was there was no point in time during that collective consciousness where fear was sold, that they weren't, oh my God, I'm terrified, and this energy, and what if it comes here now? And that's the same kind of vibe that I get with Rise Up Paranormal, with Cody and Satori, with Aaron Bush, that, we are tapping into different ways of getting this communication at levels that have never been before. And we need this entire field to kind of step back, take a look, and understand this is the direction we need to go with. We're up against our break right now, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to take our quick break here, replenish your beverages. And when we come back on the other side, we've got more evidence from the Oliver estate.
We got a ton more stuff to play for you.
With our very special guests, Aaron Bush and Alyssa Phoenix. You are watching Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you'd like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
Did you know 75% of Americans are
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
And make sure you guys do check out that Fuel Up. You go to the website and use a promo code Dead Air. And if you are selected, Bill Forte, our producer, will come to your house and play his drums outside your window. So thank you guys for joining us once again. We are doing.
If you lose,
there you go.
You're safe.
But let's continue on here in a second. We again have very special guests Aaron Bush and Alyssa Phoenix joining us tonight as we do the post-mortem on the Oliver estate. We've got a lot more evidence that Ken DaCosta is going to present to us. A couple upcoming things, guys, is next week our very good friend Chris Fleming is going to be joining us once again, and make sure that you do check it out because he's got some upcoming events that he's going to be talking about where you get a chance to meet Chris Fleming in person. Also, in 2 weeks' time, I just confirmed with our producer, Bill Forte, that our other good friend, Bishop James Long, will be joining us. He's going to be starring in a new show coming up very soon called Legion of Exorcists. Dramatic title, and it's certainly going to have some good, scary stories behind it. He's going to be joining us in about 2 weeks. That's the important part, guys, for that reminder bell and hit that subscribe button. But I return you now to our regularly scheduled program, Ken.
Okay, my friend. Now, we'll start off the second half. We were upstairs because we met a man named Earl. We met a man named Earl downstairs. Told us to go upstairs because his family was there. So we had a very long session with Earl where he introduced every member of his family, which would take forever to do because Earl was pretty wordy. And but they all checked out, and every single one of these names checked out for us. And I am going to try to put it up there right now, and I'm not sure where it went to. I'm not sure where it went to, but
we can resend it to you.
Oh, here we go. Captain Earl Sprout. So he named off James, Abby, Henry, Thomas. So, of course, if you watched it, you probably saw me on my phone thinking, it's like, what is this guy doing, not paying attention? But we're actually looking through genealogy sites and things like that to try to confirm these things. And I remember asking at one time, there was a Mary, and they said no. And there she is. She was actually the oldest. So not quite sure what the family dynamic was there that, probably went off and married somebody like me, and the family disowned her. So we want to get into a clip right now where Earl speaks about his and his daughter Abby's passing. So this is from the show, and if you watch the live event, you'll recognize this, but the audio is going to be a little bit different. You'll be able to hear the knocks a little bit better. So here we go.
Are we able to talk to them?
Mm-mm.
No. Why?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, A, B, C, young.
They're too young.
Okay. That's fine.
Here's what we know. All right, Earl died of tuberculosis
Sound about right?
or consumption. Maybe you know it better as that.
Yeah, you just gotta guess on that one, yeah.
2 children died when they were babies.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, A, B, C, D, E. Water?
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 Are we talking about Abby?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know what happened to Abby, but I think that I first need to say how sorry I am. So our condolences to you. This must have been awful. I am so sorry. Abby died at the age of 1, burns from water.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's just,
Is she okay now? Good, that's good.
Okay, so all of that proves out, and the lesson that you take away from that kind of thing is when you become aware of what the situation is. And I am not special or anything, because I think most people would react that way. The first thing you do is extend condolences for what happened. That was absolutely horrific, scalded by a boiling pot of water. I pulled it. I don't know the details of that. And it's not something we wanted to get into at all, because we don't want to bring those things back. But the idea at the end that she was fine where she is right now, I think was comforting to everybody who watched that.
Well, the fact that Satori, she like spun it real fast, but she's okay now, right? Like instead of going down that deep dark hole, it was like, okay, let's move it over here, keep the energy high. She's okay now, right?
Right.
Which I thought was pretty
you're
neat.
all together, and I think that was important to establish at that point. So it was good again, like you say, that she spun that immediately into a positive. So the next thing, speaking of positives, is about a minute long when he starts talking about his son James, who also passed away very, very young. And listen, I mean, this is the 1700s, the 1800s. Not all these stories had happy endings. It's not like an ambulance was going to come and take somebody away. There were no burn centers. I mean, you can imagine how horrific that is. What do we do? But on kind of a more positive note here, this is him talking about his son, James.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, J, A, B, James. What about James? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, L. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, O. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Look. Looks. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, L. M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
A?
Looks. A.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything.
Looks a lot.
Looks A?
Looks. More. A, B, C, D, E, F, F. After. Looks after Abby. That's good.
How old is James?
Q count. How old? 5. So James is 5.
Holy cow.
My arm hairs again are still.
Yeah. So 5-year-old James, who also passed, is looking after his little sister. And from there, we found out that she likes to hide in the closet in another room. She's a little shy, but it's good that the family is together, and so those things, you go with it in real time. But some of the things, I mean, they're pretty touching, and you can commiserate with a parent who has had to deal with something like that. The only thing that I guess we can be grateful for is in the afterlife, everybody is okay and together. So,
did you see that question that somebody popped up about where does the knocking come from? Should we explain that?
Yeah,
For those who haven't seen it.
Marco, if you want to hang in there, that question will be answered for you a little bit later on in a clip that we have, because it's a relevant question and it's a good question. And we wondered that for a while ourselves. So if you just hang in there a little bit, we'll get to that. So during their session, there was a question about whistling. And something Satori heard, Julie heard, and a couple of other people heard on that. So I want to give you a couple of different camera angles on this, exactly what they were that are hearing. It comes in and goes out just as fast.
KLMNOPQRST. Who whistled? Who's whistling? A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T. Who whistled? Who's whistling? WANT. I just heard another whistle.
All right. So again, the benefits of a small group. Everyone's in the room, but and nobody's doing that.
No.
But clearly a whistle. And what was really cool about that is once that session ended and we went back to the studio to you guys, when we were moving, the recorders were still going, and this is what we picked up as we were leaving that room. Play that again.
What are we listening at? The first part sounded like...
It sounds like somebody going...
Well, I think it was a door.
Like crying.
Maybe, but then there was a voice afterwards, unless that was one of the investigators. Ken, which part are we listening to succinctly?
We are listening to us leaving that room where they, prior to that, had heard the whistles during their session.
Play that again.
So I would say that is not a scream, but you heard the whistling in the bedroom from two different camera angles, and then when we logged off to go to the next place, we didn't hear this. We picked it up later. This is what's going on.
That's wild.
Would you, in your experience, Ken, would you categorize that as a residual?
No. Not based on what happened prior to it. Because in all of these things leading up to it, I may have in the moment, but now after reviewing everything and knowing that there are also vocalizations going along with the knocking and everything, it suggests to me that people are trying to get our attention in a different way. However that may be.
Yep.
Maybe whistling is something that doesn't take as much effort as forming words. Like Mae West once said, "You put your lips together and blow."
Well, there's no lips. You know,
Well, there's no larynx. There's no larynx either.
I
but-
know we're trying to. I think a lot of the times too, it's we are again in this realm of reality that we have a tendency to find explanation or rationalize something for what it is in our world. Case in point, the knocking. We've speculated that it may be vocals. We've speculated a bunch of different things. This particular investigation showed something very distinctive in what you did, especially in the basement. But now the whistling, is it a whistle for attention or is it something else that comes across to us as a whistling? That's fascinating. That really is. And this is the same time. This is two in a row because you had the whistling at the Alley Theater.
Yeah.
So there could be a spirit that follows you guys also.
We've had it other places as well.
Really?
One of those places we may decide to go live. It's a private residence. We've had those things before, humming and whistling, that we found out was something that the former resident, the husband, did quite often. You know, just walk around the house and whistle. In that case, I would say residual, until we were able to actually speak to him through Cody and Satari. And for this is just the idea, like I said, within context, because before that we're hearing the whistling. And then Satari says, "Who's whistling?" And then we heard it again. So no one was caught like, "Ooh, they heard me." It was just kind of like, and it came again. And then as we left, some people I know in chat said sound like a scream. You know, I can give you that for as you're listening to these things. I'm going to go with whistle because, again, in context, it doesn't seem like anybody's in any distress there. You know,
it almost sounds like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like if they were running through, like playing in the hall, like, ah, that's, I think, where the scream, not like a distress scream, but like having fun, running around, wreaking havoc kind of scream, you know?
I could subscribe to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Abby comes out of her hiding place. It's like, sure.
Right.
No less fascinating an idea. You know, now I almost want it to be the sound of happiness and you know, like, hey, I like these big kids. You know,
play with that context that Aaron introduced. Play that again.
Certainly.
Childlike.
Neato.
It is.
Yeah.
But clearly, to your point, like getting someone's attention, like, like I'm here, you know, so that makes sense. And you'd been talking about the kids too, so
right. Abby specifically, which would not out of the realm of possibility for a 1-year-old, you know.
Right.
One last thing, and then Ken, I know you got to continue on and cover because we got some great stuff still coming. This is again the post-mortem evidence review of the Oliver estate. I just want to say how grand it is that this group, and as it should be in this field, and a good big portion of that, Ken, is you and Rise of Paranormal being a benchmark, is that hearing that, let's not go and dive into the deep, dark side. That the mentality is joyous, it's festive, it's celebratory, and that needs to be adopted more so in this field than it really is. So kudos to you.
Yeah, I just look at it like, prove to me first there's something malevolent there. Because up to this point, everybody's been gracious and thankful. And the other clips with Christy where Sarah Hutchinson thanked her for her efforts there, and people's grandmothers came through, which we chose not to play tonight because I haven't talked to Christy. It's not like, you know, I know Alyssa was going to be here, but I'm not going to put anybody's emotional thing out there. The entire live broadcast is in the archives. If you want to go back and from soup to nuts and see everything that happened that night, please feel free to do that. But
And
I
you
look at it
should.
and like what led up to that point. I don't think. I mean, prove me wrong that it was some kind of scream of agony or something. And I'm not saying
Right.
anybody's saying anybody was in agony, but there may be a suggestion. If at a different place on a different night you heard something like that, immediately people, oh my God, see, it's a woman screaming and something horrible happened. To that point, there's nothing really, until we get a little bit deeper into this, that anything suggests that it was anything but either a whistle or, as you're suggesting, it makes a lot of sense, a baby just,
Doing what
but
babies
we're
do.
talking to her. We're talking to her dad. Everything's fine. James is taking care of her. So,
Yeah.
But
I'm kind of
if you
operating under that premise.
right, but if you omit the talents of Cody and Satori, and you just have a team come in and just hear that, they can categorize it any which way.
They're on fire.
Unfortunately, and it happens all too often that let's go down that dark road first and not look at the. But because of the dialogue established with Cody and Satori, it just kind of quells that fear, that thought right off the bat, and establishes that what's going on there is very family oriented. Now, when we get off the air here, Alyssa, I'll have Erin tell you about her quick trip out to Kerr City and her.
Oh, we've talked about it.
Oh, have you? Okay, so
Yeah.
there's there's something to be said again, Ken, about the approach that you guys have with regards to this field. And again, kudos.
Well, I appreciate that, and I will take that on behalf of everybody in this organization, because they all have that mindset.
Yes. Just give a roll call of that team if you could, Ken, also. And,
oh, my goodness gracious. Well, Melissa was there. Missy was missing, hence the name. Mark, of course, Julie was there. Cody and Satori. Sitting this one out was Lisa Purcell, Mark's wife, and there's Vin Pacheco, and I hate rosters because invariably leave somebody out. Steve Mills in South Carolina at the time. All these people have been doing this for a long time. So I am fortunate that I get to fall in with a bunch of people like this, really. So, easy to work with, no drama. Everybody's calm.
Yeah.
Everybody has each other's back. It's like the best football teams I ever played on as I was a kid.
Well, you got to look at it for people like Alyssa and I, who are much newer to the paranormal and especially new into investigating. I mean, you've just given us, like, we get to have a master class on investigating from you guys. And I would much rather learn from a team that conducts themselves in this manner than anyone else. So I would like to say we're very lucky just to be able to be a part of that, because we get to, for Alyssa and I, we both get to learn. Like,
Julie,
so much of
we're
this
old.
for us is learning. Julie, you're not old.
Don't
Stop.
say that, Julie.
She's not old.
Julie is a woman of few words, but she sums it up. We're old.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we are. We're there's nothing to prove. We don't think we have to prove ghosts exist. We don't have to prove that a house is haunted,
Right.
I mean, you go in, you document, you do your thing, you talk to people. And so we have a lot of people that are in the service business, people.
Yeah.
Love being on Rise Up Team. You got to click StreamYard so we know who you are. Okay, you got to come back now and you got to confess. Before we move on, I want to show you some really weird pictures. Julie shot a sequence of using FLIR imaging, and there's something that I saw here that kind of stuck out to me. This is Cody and Satori, and you can see there was a picture similar to this at the Alley Theater where you clearly see the outline of them.
Oh, this isn't
But
the alley?
No. This was at the house.
Again.
This was at the house.
Wow.
And somehow or other, their heat signatures aren't in sync with their bodies. So here's another one where you see the same thing. Okay, now here's one where they're making contact with each other. And there's no double exposure on this one.
That's so wild.
Contrast this where they're separate. Contrast this when they're making they are kind of rubbing elbows there. No double exposure. Same room, same time, same FLIR camera. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting too. And here's one of when Satori by herself, without Cody in the picture, no double exposure there either.
That's
so
bizarre.
You make of that what you will in terms of this connection, whatever they have. But as Jules snaps these FLIR images, we're just getting some weird feedback on them. And, I don't say that there's an answer for it, but, time goes on, Okay, now we come to the part of our broadcast we've all been waiting for, and that is Alyssa. And
hot seat girl.
Alyssa's experience that was totally unexpected, I'm sure. And her reaction speaks volumes. So this is it's about 3 minutes long, but it's worth every bit of it. If you missed the live show for whatever reason, shame on you. This was completely unexpected. And we'll fill in the gaps, Alyssa, after we watch the clip. So enjoy, everybody.
The door's open.
Have these two people been here before?
I'm going to stop for a minute. We're on split screen, and that shot of the floor is something George alluded to before. We are directly there underneath the Franklin room. Melissa and I are down there. We want to gauge if there are actual vibrations on the floor, and this answers, I guess, Marco's question. They're on the floor, dude, because reaching up, because it's only 6.5 feet. I'm like 6'4", so I'm like right here. And the vibrations would travel in a 2x2 area between two beams downstairs. Sometimes they would move. They weren't exactly in the same spot, but you could feel the vibrations. We've been at other places that had like 20-foot ceilings. We didn't have the opportunity to do this. So that's what that picture is down there. Melissa and I are I'm touching the ceiling to feel the vibrations, and I'm using hand signals to tell you, yeah, they're all in this area and things like that. And then a little later on, Melissa jumps in with something that's really interesting. So sorry to interrupt. Back to our program.
The door's open.
Have these two people been here before?
No, they've never been here before. Okay. Can they come in here? Can you come in here? Don't be shy. There's footsteps. Can you come talk to us? Maybe tell us your first names. I'm Satori and this is Cody. A, B, C, D, A, H, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Heard. A, B, C, D, A. About. Heard A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Loud. A.
So heard.
A. L.
So this is A is a separate word? Or
No.
Okay, so A L.
A, B, C, D.
Heard a lot.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. A, L, Y.
Alyssa?
Heard Alyssa.
Alyssa's down
A,
here.
B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, V. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, V, O. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Voice. I heard Alyssa's voice.
Alyssa's voice.
Alyssa.
She's on the live.
On the live? Okay. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, P. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. A, B, C, D, E, P, H, E. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X.
Phoenix?
Phoenix?
If you can see her face, it's her.
Okay. So there's a Phoenix here?
Can we get names? Your last name is Phoenix?
No, first name Phoenix?
Alyssa, who's on with us tonight, her last name is Phoenix, spelled Phenix.
Okay.
Okay, so this has never happened before.
Wow. I mean, I don't even know where to, yeah, Dave, what happened was it is because we put a recorder on the floor. We've learned that when they do their knocking thing, the best thing to do is put a recorder on, on record running at their feet, because it just brings out the knocks a little bit more than if you were 8 or 10 feet away. I told Cody they need to start doing this on Ghost Hunters too. Tell Pilgrim Films that I'll give them a free lesson on how to mic these kids up. So much to unpack there. The only thing that I will say from the get-go before I need to step out of the way on this is that we know spirits cannot look at phones via Cody and Satori. If you hold your cell phone up, they cannot see anything but white. And that goes for televisions too. So right at the beginning, there was a little confusion with the letters, but obviously it was spelling out, hear Alyssa's voice. They did not see you, but they heard your voice. Now, how they got there, we can discuss, but they got there. And they heard your voice, and that was enough for them to speak through Bethania, if the clip was a little longer, who was the wife of Earl. And she was making the introductions. These people who wanted to talk to you came, and Bethania, playing the role of host, said, that's what they meant by, have these two people been here before? No, that was Bethania saying, I don't recognize these two people who just showed up, but they hear Alyssa's voice.
Alyssa, your response?
I think I remember.
I mean, go back to the 2 Sundays ago, and you're just sitting there as a conscientious observer. You are expecting to just experience this tapping communication, and then this happens. And where does your mind go at that point in time?
I think at first I was like sort of kind of skeptical because I didn't know where the knocks were coming from. And then all of a sudden, as soon as it started, like, you can see my face starting to like connect things when they started with the A and the L, and then like they weren't getting like allowed and that stuff. And I was like, I swear, like in my mind, I was like, I swear to God, if it goes to Y or S, like, it's like I was trying to stay calm. But then as soon as they said Alyssa, I was like, who is this?
Now, Ken, can I ask you to repeat who showed up, or do you have that clip?
We have that clip.
Oh yeah,
we have that clip. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Dave,
just the beginning.
Yeah, the dog is cool. I like the beagle. He's just photobomb. He's dog bombing you right now. So that's the background on that. We were downstairs, yada yada yada. George had put it up on screen that I was feeling the vibrations. They are obviously coming from the floor. I can feel the vibrations in a 2x2 area. They can't see devices, pictures and things like that. So the sound of your voice there and your presence was enough, as George likes to stay at the speed of a thought, that they came in to take their shot. They shot their shot to come in at that point. So when you guys are ready, I'll play the clip to finish this off if we're good. Aaron, you like immediately knew what was going on because you spiked the football. Alyssa was still, you can see that she's still trying to process A-O-Y. I have that same feeling when they start knocking out K-E. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
Who's been spying on Ken today?
Here we go. What am I thinking of now? So,
well, I think what's mind-blowing too, and I know we're going to play this clip, so I'm not going to say anything about that, but the fact that Alyssa's in California.
Yeah.
Right? Y'all were in Middleborough, Mass.
Right.
So my brain is like, okay, well, did they stop by Alyssa's room first and stand in front of her and try to get her attention? They're like, well, this ain't working. We got to go over to the other side of the country. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then so they're like, okay, it's crazy night. Let's go there. We can hear her from there.
Spiritual Uber over to the other side of the country to like hook up with you. I mean, amazing stuff. Christy earlier in the night, and then Chris, who's a volunteer there. And then you hear Cody at the end say, well, that's never happened before. Where somebody
it still
hears
blows Cody's mind.
Somebody hears a voice on YouTube and says, that's Alyssa. Come on, we need to go to Massachusetts and say hello to her. That is just mind-blowing.
It kind of, again, contributes, Ken, to your experience where the spirits read your thoughts. So if in this particular case, Alyssa, cognizant of the fact that this is the Oliver estate in Middleborough, Massachusetts, and may think about that location, maybe even a fleeting thought of family members. And that is enough to trigger their activity in the spirit realm to be able to communicate. I mean, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Quantum entanglement.
It is unbelievable. So we'll finish this out right now with the folks coming to say hello to you.
Can you ask what their names are?
Thank you. You hear them talking?
Can you guys hear the knocking on the line?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They're talking to each other. Got something? Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. A, B, C, D, E, she. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, Sherry. No. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, A, T, A, A, A. That's it? Sharita? Okay.
Who's the other one?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, K. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Kim? More? A, B, B, Kimberly? Kimberly? So Sharita and Kimberly are here? Okay.
That is my aunt and my cousin actually passed away last year in May. They're actually spirit sensitive, and she was spirit sensitive, and so was Aunt Sharita. So, oh my God, I always knew they were there.
Well, you kind of took a trip, didn't you?
So this hasn't happened before.
I never had a spirit say they heard someone's voice and felt like they needed to come to a colonial house in New England. No.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. We've been watching that clip over and over since the investigation. Like, it's just so, it's like shocking and relieving and just.
Now, who have you shared that with?
I've shared it with my mom. As soon as the live ended, I went to my mom's room and showed her it. And she was like skeptic at first. She's like, do they know you? Did you post about their passing? I'm like, I never post about anything. I was like, I've only posted about Kim passing literally the day she passed in May 15th. So that was the one time I posted about it. And there's no way that nobody would have saw that. I told her, I was like, Cody and Satori don't even know me. I know them from TV, but they don't know me. So that's not possible. And then after that, she told my aunt. Then we told my grandmother. And then finally, I decided to tell, obviously, Kim's brother and Sharita's son. I ended up telling him, like, sending him the footage. And he was just, like, in shock from it. And I was like, I told him, I was like, you know what? They're always here and they're always listening and they always support you. That is enough to show you they're there. They see us. They're still with us.
Correct.
So it's like
Sandy has a question. Have you been able to talk to them since the investigation? I would broaden that to say, since then, has anything happened that would suggest that everybody's aware that there was contact made?
I would say that I think definitely the energies around us and the house have been different. Yeah. Especially with my mom now. She's like been more like welcoming of the gift that I have and like welcoming of the fact that the spirits are there. Like she's been reflecting on all the incidents and things that I've had like when I was a kid that she didn't recognize was me talking to spirits. Now she realizes, oh my God, those are spirits. Like, you know, how many relatives has she been talking to or have been following us? Like, so it's like, I've been like thinking back to it, like I've been seeing messages, like just whether it's angel numbers or just feelings, or you just like suddenly start getting flashes of images of like them or like of our great granny. Like the person I usually talk to the most was my great granny. So it's like to now have that conversation, knowing that also they're looking out for us and still like wanting to be there and still wanting to support and communicate. Like there'll be moments where I would think about something that happened and I'm like, you know what, if Kim was here, you know, you would get that confirmation, like, you know, I would do this for you. You know what I would say if this was gonna happen. Like I would always think about that, like with her, because it was like there was so much that I went through the year before and the year before that, where we would talk to each other and support each other. And we would talk about different messages and things that were sent to us in our dreams, whether it's like we see pennies or coins, like different things that all of a sudden, like now you think back on it and you're like, wow, okay, maybe this meant like it was a message from her mom, or this was a message from, like, suddenly things are starting to come together. And it's just like, definitely, it changed a lot. It changed a lot, like, here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does. It's comforting in a way, and it's comforting to us too, because, the question is what happens. So I think it's pretty clear that you want to call it the soul, kind of lives on. And then every once in a while, or maybe never, something like this happens where, you can make that connection. So, I'm grateful for it. I know you are. We all are, to witness it. But the coolest thing to me is now when it happens to somebody else, because I've been there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But at first you're hoping that the person doesn't fall apart, but you got to give them a moment. But to see the, whatever you want to call it, the relief, the closure, the joy that eventually after they process it is, there's no price you can put on it.
That's the best way to put it too, Ken, was the processing, because I wasn't joking about when Alyssa is on her platforms that she is very comfortable talking, has no problems whatsoever, and she seemed kind of an introvert for the duration of that last show. And I think it is a process. When you have that kind of an experience, you have to go through the acceptance, to go through the understanding, and to the joy, the level of joy, to know that your loved ones have continued on and that they can feel you, hear you, and communicate with you in their own way. So I think it's just tremendous to see her finally coming out of that shell. That was the most we've had her speak so far, and and Ken's absolutely right. This continues to be somewhat of a tradition now when Rise Up and Cody and Satori get together and they go out to these live investigations. Um, Somebody related to the location, somebody related to the team, their family members tend to show up, and simply can, in some cases, to just acknowledge their existence, that they're there. It doesn't have to be some sort of profound message. It's just like, just want to say hi, and that we're thinking about you and we're okay. Incredible.
I
We're
think for a
we're
lot of
looking
people
after
too.
you.
Yeah. I think for those of us who are, either involved in this field or sensitives, it's validation for us too. But I think if you're a person, and I think especially in families who don't necessarily believe, it's almost like there's a sense of relief because it gives them the permission to acknowledge the things that they thought were signs, like you said, pennies or angel numbers or cardinals or whatever that is. You get that kind of validation for those people who don't necessarily give themselves permission. They now can almost give themselves that permission to be like, okay, yeah, they are with me. Okay, those are things that happened to me. Those were signs from those people that I felt like I was getting. And it opens a different kind of door for those people, because that's a journey. They may jump on that train, they may not, but they at least have given themselves the permission to know that there's something bigger out there that maybe they always questioned,
It also takes away that thing of like, a dark shadow showed up in my room, and and all the rest of that. It's actual communication, and words are being exchanged, statements are being made as far as what's going on. And Sharita and Kim came in for no other reason than to say, we heard Alyssa's voice, and the people at the house were gracious enough to, come on in here, I mean, because that's
we'll even open the door. They had to open the door for them. Here, let us open the door for you.
Now you could hear the tapping on the floor as if two souls were walking into that room. Now, come on in here. I don't know who Alyssa is, but we heard. What's that? Oh, they're saying that they heard your voice. you know.
Right.
and it's just so cool that that's being facilitated on the other side, you know.
Yeah.
Had a clip. We got about 5 minutes left here. There is a longer clip. Before we left, we went back in the ladies' parlor, and Sarah Hutchison was telling us that something of value, keep looking on the property. Something of value is buried there, which fascinating. You know,
Yeah.
so the short clip is just her explaining when we asked, obviously, what is it? This is her
Were you trying to say
response.
Okay. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R. Try. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O 2 A B C D E F G H H A B C D E F G H I J K L H I H I A B C D E
D.
hide
I.
A B C D E A B B A B C D E before
Beneath.
Behind.
before
Before they left.
Before you left, you tried to hide it.
Take a shot.
okay.
So that's confirmation that they tried to hide something. Was it ever found to your knowledge?
Lord.
Well, that's what I believe by reading all the history and the documents. It's kind of what led me to try to think about looking over there. And it's kind of in patches with different accounts.
Unbelievable. Before Ken continues here, Ken, if there's more clips that you have to play, we've only got about 2 minutes left with KGRA. And if that's the case, those of you watching through KGRA, just go ahead and go over to YouTube or Rise of Paranormal on Facebook, either one, and you guys can watch us as we play out the rest of the evidence that Ken has collected together for tonight's show.
A couple of clips left. If everybody wants to stay with us, wants to hear them, then we'll be happy to hang out for a little bit.
All right. I'm going to address these two questions real quick also. This one for Alyssa from Talik Motorsports Media. Have either Alyssa or Aaron read the Book of Mediums by Alan Kardec? It's the Bible of spiritualism in Latin America.
I haven't, but I
haven't either.
Just started it, but I have it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is just a comment also, Ken, directed towards Rise Up Paranormal. You all deserve all the recognition for all you do. Professional, thorough, and always informative. You all bring the paranormal to a new and exciting level. Kudos to you all.
Thanks to my wife for sending that.
I think that was Melissa from your team.
Melissa there real quick. That last clip where Kim and Sharita came through, that K2 that was going off, a couple of things. Standard procedure, my phone is on airplane mode. Other than the room where I took it off to look for a genealogy search. So it wasn't the cell phone setting it off. Absolutely no wires.
We got to get away from KGRA, but we'll see you guys if you switch over here to Dead Air Full Spectrum on YouTube. See you in a second. Bill, we'll talk to you later, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bill Forte.
Bye, Bill.
Okay, Ken.
Okay. So, yeah, just to finish that thought, underneath when Sharita and Kim came through, Melissa had the presence of mind, let's try a K2 up there, which just detects electromagnetic fields. You know, I'm not suggesting, it went off because a ghost, it's detecting a ghost at all. But there was something that changed the environment, changed the energy immediately below Cody and Satari. And it wasn't the cell phone setting it off, because the longer clip will show, I said, drop it to the floor. And she put it way down and kept the camera on it, and it just went to one light. When we picked it up, put it underneath them again, immediately it spiked all the way 20 milligauss plus, which is like underneath power line type of a charge. So another piece of the puzzle, I guess, standing underneath them, they described it, or they have described it on the other side as a beam of light that just shoots up from them to infinity. So that beam might be going in two different directions, from the Earth itself. So we managed, I think, to measure some type of energy that is around them that you can assume exists, but I'm not going to say it's not cool to put something out there and measure it, especially something visual like that. So that's what that whole thing was about. And Melissa, great idea to do that. Happen to have it on her. Why not put it up there? So
for sure.
that's kind of how that all played out.
So crazy.
Yeah. As far as clips, I do have the clip of Sarah Hutchison, who is the wife of Peter Oliver, talking about introducing us to the idea that there's something of value buried on the property. So I'm going to let this run for about 3 minutes, because why not? We can do whatever we want here.
Is there something that you would like us to do that we haven't started working on yet?
Did you hear that? Yeah, is there anything you'd like new or changed or added? Anything like that? Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M.
That was around J.
H, I, J, K, A, B, C, D, E, keep.
I always get nervous when they start off with K.
H, I, J, K,
Can't help
L. H, I, J, K, L. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O.
Looking.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, in. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. A, B, C, D, E, A, R, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Rear.
Rear.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Of house.
Keep looking in the rear of the house.
Outside.
So can I ask a question? So I believe very strongly that baby Margaret is buried on the grounds. Is she behind the house? On the grounds.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Q, R, R, Q, U, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. Quit. Quitting. A, B, C, D, E. Quite. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Possibly.
Quite possibly. Like, I can't tell you that, but quite possibly. Like, I think that's the...
Is that what they want us to look for?
They He just said keep looking in the rear of the house.
Okay, so put it all together. Sarah Hutchinson said quite possibly that there's something of value buried on the property in the rear of the house, and they tried to hide it before she got there. Ooh. So it's like, pack up the mystery machine. Get Scooby on this one, because, yeah, there's a bit of a thing there. And I know that Christy wants to do some metal detecting and things like that. So we've offered, we've got like 5 of them. Chris Blanchett is like shaking right now, just dying to get out there. Because the first time we were there years ago, he found a musket ball on the property, and I think it was a button from a British uniform. So there are things there that unexplored that, has nothing to do with the paranormal, but just fascinating stuff.
It was like the newest episode of Ghost Hunters and Cody and Satori. Fascinating. They get this message, took dirt from my cemetery,
From my grave.
and
And
then they started going out and looking in the yard for any type of sign of a grave or bodies or bones, and they used a machine, and they didn't find anything. And then it turned out they found out that one of the owners had taken dirt from a grave off property, and that's where a lot of these problems were stemming from. Here we go again, Cody and Satori picking out that there are things that possibly are buried in the yard. It'd be interesting to see if Christy reaches back to you, Ken, and discovers that there are things that they've found.
Yeah. The longer clip, it was kind of funny because right after that, Story said, somebody is buried in the backyard. And everybody started going, whoa, whoa, whoa. And no, it's something is buried in the backyard, because we got excited there for a minute. It's like, oh my God, call the medical examiner.
Call the ME.
Because there's like enough of that already in the basement. Which we'll get to on the last couple of clips, but
it's pretty amazing with the potential of what their ability is. We already see the capabilities, but there's still so much more potential out there, and you've got to tread lightly. Ken and I have had multiple discussions about this and protecting the kids, but I'm sorry, Ken, go ahead with those clips.
No, it's the thing about it is when they can't go to a piece of land and say, ooh, there's something buried here. They're getting this information from independent sources.
Right.
On the other side, somebody who lived in the 1800s says, I know that this is here. I know that's there. On an episode recently, they found a pen that belonged to a sheriff, right? Who told them it's over here. He knew where it was. And as the celebrity they were with was walking around, when he got to that spot, you heard the knocks like, yeah, it's right there. And then Jason tore it up.
And found the pen.
You didn't see on the show. But funny part of that, Jason has the pen that they found.
Does he?
He will not give it to his daughter because he claims he's trying to start his own haunted museum.
Oh my God.
At least he knows some good sources to, start one if he needs some help.
Yeah, that's Jay. That's Jay in a nutshell. That's why we love him. But yeah, they get this information from sources. People tell them. In her case, it's like, I know it's there. Well, she said quite possibly there, but they tried to hide it before I got there. So, I mean, that just sends the mind. Is this like the original Declaration of Independence that's there?
Right. Is it a stash of gold?
Right, with Franklin there, and like, wow, what is in this thing, and what is it buried in? So finally brings us to our last 2 clips, and this is we were in the cellar. And if you saw the show, you're reminded that we were told by Christy Parrish that she had unearthed some human bones in the basement. And before we play the clips, let me give you an idea of what we're looking at. This is the cellar. Now, behind those tires, just to the left of the chimney at the far end, my understanding is that's where they were unearthed. And she called the police, who came in. They were human bones. They did not let anybody know if they were male or female, for the simple reason that they may have an ongoing investigation. I mean, these bones may be from the 1700s, or they may be from the 1960s, or
Right.
you know. So yes, they're human bones. They confirmed that, but no other details were given. So we went down there, and she gave us the name she believed. It was a chambermaid named Julie. Now, I didn't really, we were kind of pressed for. I didn't go in a long conversation with her about how she arrived at that. I guess the only funny part, when I was down in the basement, I didn't tell anybody. So I kept saying, Julie, are you here? And Cody and Satori are looking at Julie DeMay going like, why is Ken calling you right now? Why is he saying you're dead? Why is he saying that are you okay? And it's just, and Julie didn't know. She says, I have no idea. And
she's like, wait, y'all can see me, right? You can still see me, right? I'm standing here in this basement, right? I'm still real, right?
I'm right here, yeah, well, that's the kind of things that happened here. So we had put Cody's static device on it. So did get some confirmation that it's a little weird. It's directional. So whatever disturbs it, the light will come on forward or backward, left or right, tell you where it's coming from. So here you go.
Can you move again? If you move, it'll just light up another pretty color for you. It won't hurt you.
I think the next one's orange.
Do you like orange?
Yeah.
Whoa, that was wicked fast.
So apparently, yes, and it was not forward or back. It was on the orange to the back. And then finally, after a long EVP session, this is going to be tough to hear. It's labeled, but the knocks were coming from the dirt floor, which we could clearly hear. But in putting this together really quick, this is what we got. But whomever is down there, this was the contact with that person.
Are you comfortable with that? You can be honest. You don't have to. No. Okay.
No? All right.
Okay. Just know that you don't have to be stuck down here, okay?
Yes, if we go upstairs, you're more than welcome to talk to us up there if you change your mind.
Are you in any kind of distress right now? Or are you in any kind of trouble? Do you need help?
No.
All right.
That's good.
We respect that. Do you feel you're at peace right now?
Is that a yes? Yes. Okay. That's good.
Just not comfortable talking just yet?
That's okay.
All right.
Can I just one last question? Are you a male? You're not? Okay.
So you're a female. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you do what you're doing, okay? Give you some space on our part at least, okay?
And if you change your mind, just find us.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay. And that is how that goes. Our mindset there, someone there. I don't know why they're there. I don't know why they choose to remain there, but shadow figures are constantly seen. We, or Satori did at one point, see a shadowy figure near where the bones were excavated. But what it comes down to, whoever is there, for whatever reason, I'm at peace. I'm not in distress. Here I am. So it was like, if you're okay, we're gonna leave you in peace. Time to move on.
I'm all good.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I can honestly say with each and every one of these, and I know that there's two that Ken mentioned that from a live investigation is at least on the initial drawing board upcoming. And, if we're able to continue this dialogue, I think each and every time with these new discoveries, it's going to bring us more of a consistency of how we can expand upon what Cody and Satori are doing and what we discover each time that we are capable of in our own realms, in our own lives. I'm somewhat of an isolationist and certainly an introvert outside of the realm of the people that I talk to, which I can count on one hand. But I can tell you that when there are things going on with me, I talk to Amanda, Gabriel, Michael, Colette, my mom, my dog, my brother, all the people that are on the other side, and I express to them when I have these discussions because I knew already, but it certainly entrenched my faith in it with Cody and Satori that they're there and they're listening at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's that's the takeaway. Beyond all this, beyond collecting the evidence and coming on and showing it to everybody, I think that we're not so much at this point trying to prove anything as we are just trying to send a message. And sometimes that message is very personal and it comes through the people who are in our circle, in our gravity. Alyssa is a classic example of that. It's like, okay, Alyssa's here. She's with us. We got a message for her. So it's less about showing the world anything now. At this point, it's connecting people and passing along those messages, and probably more importantly, letting those who have moved on know that it's like we are memorializing you. We're thinking of you. We're reaching out to you. We just want to let you know we're okay and you're okay. And, that time will come. Yeah, we'll see you again.
Before we go, I'll final words from you, Aaron, and then you, Alyssa, if you have anything that you wanted to add.
I think one thing too and I do this with a lot of my clients when I work with energy, because I'm always calling in their people from the other side, my people from the other side, making it like a collective effort to thank them too for being around us, for always keeping an eye out, for maybe burning our toast one day, but we missed an accident or whatever. Just always being cognizant of the help that they offer us all the time that we're not always aware of. So I always try to teach people to thank their people on the other side for the guidance they offer us. I think that's really important. So
I think Erin is a bad cook, and now she has another excuse.
That's true. I am a terrible cook. My husband is the only chef in this house. We would have starved a long time ago if it were up to me. So
Alyssa, final words from you, dear.
I think I'm speechless every time. I think the investigation was definitely an eye-opening and chilling investigation, because it just made you realize that they're there. Like, it made you realize, like, even if you knew that they were there, it helps others as well realize like they're there. That was the one thing that stuck with me big time, was like, they're there. They hear everything. They're still living on the other side. And they're still, here for us. They're still watching over us. They may try to give us signs and try to give us warnings about things. And you may ignore them, even though you should listen to them. But, like, they're there.
Exactly. Ken, anything else you want to mention, including the upcoming OSPC? Anything?
Yeah, we'll pop that on here real quick. We're moving along now with OSA State Paracon 2023 in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Advanced tickets are available.
A stone's throw from the Conjuring House.
A stone's throw. And I want to make an announcement that at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, we are going to be posting the link for the Sunday night investigation of the farmhouse. Jacqueline Nunez and Conjuring House are going to be offering tours throughout the weekend, daytime tours. We are going to have a private showing of the Conjuring movie Saturday night. $5 to get into that. All the proceeds go to the Tomorrow Fund from the entire weekend. And beer and wine and concessions are going to be available during the movie, courtesy of the theater. So they are really working with us on this. But so many things going on. We promise this will probably be, I think, the biggest of all the 11 previous years we've done it, because we're celebrating 10th anniversary of the movie. So all of these wonderful things happening. So you want to beat the lines, get your tickets. Tickets are available the day of the event. And we have quite the roster of stars. Hey, a lot of these people are on Dead Air Full Spectrum. Look at all these people here. My goodness, they're moonlighting coming out here. So get your tickets early on that. And one quick mention, Rise Up Paranormal, our next event at the Conjuring House will be held June 2nd. Special overnight investigation. So if you're interested,
nice.
ConjuringHouse.com.
I bet Melissa right now is so wishing she lived on the East Coast.
I tried to get her to come with me to OSP. I'm like, come on, we're gonna go next year. She's got a whole list of cons to check out for next year to plan her travel schedule accordingly. Come meet us out on the East Coast.
Oh, and then finally, before you sign off, George, a reminder: next Sunday we welcome back Chris Fleming.
He'll be talking about the pop-up Paracon that's going to be happening on July 8th. So you guys make sure you do come back with us next week. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the reminder bell for upcoming content, and hit that thumbs up before you all leave tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I also like to thank Aaron and Alyssa for being our guests tonight with these experiences. We thank you guys so much as far as for hanging out.
So just telling them hang out.
Yeah, don't go anywhere yet, Aaron and Alyssa. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much once again, and we will be back next week, same time. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.